welcome in. My name is Tolu, and on this channel, I make faith-based videos to encourage you as you fight the good fight of the faith daily. Today, I'm here with my best friend, Bestie. Oh my goodness. Honestly, it's really surprising that she hasn't been on the channel before, but she does live in Seattle, and so it does require some travel for us to get together. But I'm so excited that we're together today, and I figured that we'd just share a couple of the things that we've learned about dating as Christian women. I'm gonna give a full disclosure here. I don't have much experience in it, so you can take, what you will from what I'm saying. But I just figured I would share from my experience, and she'll share from her experience some things that we've learned in our 26 and 27 years of life. And yeah. No, that's so young.
That's so young.
We're so young. We're
young.
young.
Right.
We've added our microphones to these roses because I just thought it would be kind of romantic, So don't mind. I hope it's not distracting. I thought it was kind of cute, but okay. Anyway, I think we should just go ahead and get started.
Let's get started.
Do you want to go first? Or do you want me to go first?
You should go first. This is your thing.
Okay.
Let's do that.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess the first thing that I've learned about dating as a Christian woman is that you can't put too much pressure on any one person or relationship or situation, because I feel like it just kind of sets you up for failure. I feel like for me, when I was young, I was like, you know what, I'm only going to date one person. Faith, you probably remember this. In college, I was like, yeah, I'm only going to date one person. That's going to be my husband.
What did I say?
I don't know, but from then I realized that you can't do that. I can't do that because it's like, I'm going to meet that person and then just expect that he's going to fit all the requirements that come with being my husband, and that it hasn't been the case. And so I really learned that I really have to approach every relationship from the viewpoint of I'm just getting to know somebody and getting to see if they fit, if they mesh, just like any other person dating. But I feel like for me, since, it's like dating with the intention of marriage, yes, it's going to be intentional, but I can't put too much pressure in this person has to be my husband,
For me, in high school or in college, I don't think I ever said I want to marry this person.
Okay.
Or I didn't even have the desire to date much. But in the cases where I've liked a person, I just let it flow. But I think I experienced what you experienced in my 20s rather than when I was younger. Because when I started to see not everybody getting married, but I had friends who were a bit older than me because I was friends with my sister's friends for a long time. So when I was becoming a bridesmaid or doing grown-up stuff, I started to think, okay, I need to date with the intention of marriage if I do date. And so when I did meet people, I kind of put a lot of pressure on them and on me.
Okay.
And that really clouded my judgment a lot because I'm either looking for things to go wrong or I'm setting expectations that they cannot meet. Yeah. And that just takes away the natural flow of things. You can't be free, you can't be yourself, they can't be themselves.
Right.
You already have requirements. Even the idea of requirements, having criteria is good, but I think humans are such worlds to explore, We should enjoy the process of just exploring who they are, of course with boundaries, and then, just see if that works. But of course, always with intention and with boundaries. I'll say that for sure.
Yeah. I think that would be the first thing I've learned. Just don't put too much pressure on any, dating experience on any person, and really just approach each experience as an opportunity to get to know somebody and see if it's a good fit. Yeah.
The first lesson for me is to pace yourself and to make sure that both of your pace just aligns well. Some people, men are usually very fast and full send. If they like you, they just go for it. They follow their gut, or when they know, they know. But women don't know when they know. Not a lot. At least if you're like me, at least you want to build trust. You don't just want to give trust. You don't want to assume that this person is yours without really knowing much about them. And so I'm not the type who looks at a person if they're attractive or if they seem nice, that's my person. I can never do that. love has to grow. Even you and me. It took us like a year and a half to become like really best friends. I'm just saying. I'm just saying any relationship.
I did.
Any like, because we met in high school, right? We met in high school, and then our friendship grew up during our first year, and you can't. I'm not really a big fan of like when you know at the beginning. Like it works for some people, but it's a very rare thing. I would like to see people love me in different seasons of my life. So it takes time. Love is not like a feeling. I would need to see it consistently. And so pace yourself when the other person's going really fast. Try to pace them too. Remind them, hey, like we're just getting to know each other. Guard your heart. Let me guard mine, and let's go about this in the most like optimal way for the both of us.
Level-headed.
Exactly.
Level-headed way.
Yeah. Even when it gets like too romantic or we're talking about kids and marriage on like the third date, calm yourself down. Those are nice and sweet things, but they're so unrealistic, and they literally catapult you towards like this level 17 of your relationship when you're like on level 1, and then you drive fast, you crash. Like every single situation I've been in where somebody really moved really fast or I allowed things to move fast, which is not really my nature, we always crashed.
Dang.
Bet. And I literally give these warnings too, but like I don't think men operate in a way where they want to guard their heart, or they're like, I think they just go for it, at least in my experience. And for me, it's like, back up a little bit. You don't even know what you like about me just yet.
Right. You get caught up in the emotions of it, and then it's like you're kind of in this dream fairyland, but it's like, okay, if you actually took a step back and maybe didn't see each other every day, didn't talk, for multiple hours a day, no shade, but then you'd be able to be like, oh, okay, well, like I'm actually noticing things that I might not want in a future partner of mine, but you aren't able to see that when you're constantly like in this lovey-dovey state and spending so much time around each other at first, for sure. I think that goes into the next thing I've learned too, is that I would highly recommend to date in community. Like, date around other people, let other people see and experience your dating relationship. I feel like when it's you and the other person and it's just like one-on-one, of course, it's gonna be good because you guys like each other, and you're living in like in the fairy tale land that we've been talking about. But once you start to invite other people in, invite community in, your friends can see how you interact around that person, how that person treats your friends. Your friends can hold you accountable, actually, we're not doing that. That's not really what we should be doing, especially as believers, especially as daughters of Christ. And I've just seen that when I kind of isolate when getting to know somebody, it ends up not being the healthiest. But in the situations where I've actually kind of been around other people in community, they've been able to point some stuff out to me, and I've been able to see how they interact with my community, and it makes for a well-rounded experience and relationship. Yeah,
there are nuances to that though, I think sometimes.
Okay.
Because what's a red flag for you, I hate using these things, but like what doesn't work for you may work for me. The dynamic you're looking for may be different from like the dynamic I'm looking for. Some women, for example, want to have a dynamic where like they're always taken care of, they're pampered, very princess vibes. Some women were raised to be very strong and take just responsibility. Maybe that's not their preference, but they're just certain dynamics that people are okay with that other people are not. So when they point out things to you that are not good, that they, from their perspective, it may really work for you. So you just need to know.
Like, you know me really well. I know you really well.
You're right. So the community just needs to know you really well.
Yeah, like it needs to be your people.
Not everybody. You're right. Got it.
Yeah.
So I agree. You're right.
So it's like, if you're talking to a man and it's not really looking right, I'm gonna have to say something.
You're right. I really want to say something. You're right. She really do. She really, really do.
I got you, girl.
Thank you. And I think as part of that, we were talking about when you're dating in community, know who you're going to advise for, and know who you're going to for advice versus validation. And notice when you do that too. Like, am I doing this for validation, or am I seeking for genuine advice? Because I've noticed myself asking for validation. I go to the specific people that would give me validation when what I need actually is advice.
Yeah,
so it's for somebody to hold me accountability. Yeah, for somebody to hold me accountable. But instead, I go to the person who validates my delusions.
Please. Oh, no.
I haven't been too delusional. I don't think I have, but
sorry, no.
This is new.
No, I'm just kidding.
Okay. But not delusion, but just to hold you accountable when you mess up, right? I think the best people so far for me have been you. Winu just really coming from my neck. Winu's her little sister. No need for that.
Just letting you know. She told me what she told you the other day. I was like, oh.
Yeah, she really came from my neck. I
wouldn't have said that, but hey.
Yeah, you know what? Sometimes you need those harsh friends to remind you of who you are and what you would tolerate and what you wouldn't. You know? So just know what you're seeking. I think not know what you're seeking, but know what you should seek for in those moments. Like, do I need to be held accountable right now? Am I acting out of my character? Am I existing out of like a reality that I don't want to be in? And who would notice that and tell me, hey, this is not it? Versus there's some friends who are amazing friends, but in different categories of your life may not have aligned morals. Like, the moral compass is very different. So they may validate those things and you may think, oh, this is right. And a lot of the times people do fall into like peer pressure in any and every aspect, right? Whether it's addiction or even small habits. So just know what you're looking for and go directly to what you need versus what you want in that situation.
Yeah Thank you.
Okay, the second thing for me is, I've thought about this a lot, but it's really hard to implement when you're in the situation.
Okay.
It's like trying to be on the same page with the other person about how they see marriage. Just try to see if the way they see marriage is the way you see it, which should be the way it's in scripture, which is Christ. Is the husband and the church is the wife, right? And so how willing are they to learn that if they haven't really aligned to that? Or do they see it as like a worldly union, or is it just like a partnership thing, or like some type of romanticized worldly union? You know what I mean? But it's not that. Is it Ephesians or is it Romans where it talks about
where the husband needs to love the wife as Christ loved the church and be willing to
die for her?
Yeah,
exactly. Will he be able to do that, or will he? These are very theoretical things to say, because I don't know who would die for their wife. I think they would. Some people would. But he needs to love you to that extent, though, and then the wife has to do the same, which is love. Yeah.
I'm just kidding. Submit and support.
Submit to your husband, not to any man, though. Let's get that. Because a lot of people take that a lot of men take that out of context, and they say women should submit.
Right.
Like, no, wives should submit to their wives. Wives to their husbands.
Yeah, and to be honest, like that in Ephesians, I think it's Ephesians 5, it's like the calling on the husband to love the wife as Christ loved the church is such a stronger calling, honestly, than
be submissive
than a woman's calling to be submissive to the husband. But we can talk about that in another video, I guess. But so you're basically saying, like, just make sure you guys are on the same page when it comes to
how you see marriage,
like your views of marriage. The third thing that I've learned about dating as a Christian woman is that it's really important to have your values fully established, and your beliefs, and where your boundaries are, I guess, fully established before you meet that person, like meet somebody, because once you meet someone, they're gonna have their own beliefs, their own values, and if you're not fully rooted, you're gonna be easily swayed, easily convinced, and you might be compromising and doing things that you didn't want to do, didn't intend to do. And so I would say, like, I've learned to appreciate this season of singleness as just a time to really develop my relationship with God and develop like where I stand, what I believe, what my non-negotiables are, what my boundaries are. So now when I meet somebody, it's like, this is where I'm at. Are you okay with that or no? Like, for example, first date, I'm telling anybody I'm waiting till marriage. And it's a question of, is that okay with you or no? Because if it's not going to work out. You know what I'm saying? And it's led to some relationships ending, and it's been okay in others. So that's one thing I've learned. Do you have anything to add to that? Do you agree with that? Or
for me, I've noticed if I've been single for a long time, I've spent a lot of time with myself. It's easy to date after a long period of singleness. I've noticed that.
It's easy to date. Okay.
It's easy because you kind of are set in your ways, you know, like not just set in your ways, but you're more seasoned in your boundaries and your non-negotiables. You've thought a lot about what you want, and you're protecting this safe space, right? But if I haven't given myself a long time before I meet someone, I've noticed that if I didn't have that very quiet, level-headed single season, it just gets messy. Not messy, but like I don't communicate as effectively. I don't communicate as firmly. So those boundaries and those non-negotiables usually get blurry.
Okay.
And so do appreciate being single and that like appreciate that season.
Yeah.
And genuinely do be single, because sometimes people say they're single and they're not. Like,
what are they?
I mean, they're probably like with multiple people, situationships, multiple people, or like they're not alone within themselves too. Like there's multiple different personalities. Like like they have. I'm just saying like multiple different desires that are contradicting. For example, they want to be really like, you know, wild, but at the same time they also want to be with the Lord, but they also want to do A, B, C, and D. So like you haven't even reconciled all of who you are.
Okay, like
you're not a single person. You're just carrying so many things.
I see.
You have so many versions of yourself that haven't reconciled well. You know, so there are two ways. Like, are you genuinely alone and alone with God, or are you alone but like with people hitting you up left and right? And
I see. Or do you have a rotating roster? Is what she's asking.
Okay. If you're getting to know people, for sure, but if you have like, you know, these undefined commitments or like blurry situations with people, you're not single. The single that I'm talking about is when I'm genuinely not talking to nobody.
Not talking to nobody. It's
I'm
literally just you,
just me,
the
myself,
Lord,
and I.
your homegirls. If you've got a dog, maybe the dog as well.
Period. That's what I mean. And I think those seasons of singleness are the times where I was actually genuinely so happy, because I made sure my cup was full, and I wasn't desiring anything out of anything bad, whether it's like insecurity or like a lack or something, you know. And you even see yourself socializing differently, interacting with people differently, because you're so seasoned in your own way, right?
Like we never want to date out of feeling like we need to fill a void. Like we should be fully filled up, you know, in the spirit, in the Lord, like fully confident in where we are as daughters of Christ, that we're like, you know, somebody can come and we're fully level-headed. If they're not a match, they gotta go. You know?
I watched this sermon one time, and he basically said like, does a hungry person choose what to eat? Like, are beggars choosers? Basically, that's so. Beggars are not choosers, but he said in a different language. So he was just saying like, people who are hungry don't choose what they're gonna eat. Like they're not picky with what, not choose what they're not picky with what they're gonna eat. So like, if you're very, I don't say thirsty or hungry, or like if you're really
thirsty,
no, don't put me in a position where I'm fighting with your followers and subscribers or friends. Okay, I just mean that if you're in a season of like really wanting to be in a relationship or really wanting to date, that's probably when your judgment is very clouded, because like a person who's hungry is not picky. You're not gonna be picky. You're gonna pick what's right there, and it's not gonna taste good, and you won't know how to walk away.
Yep. She said, don't be hungry, don't be thirsty. Go drink some water.
And when you find yourself in that space, run. The next one for me is realizing that the game changes when you realize you need a man who sees you the way God sees you. That reminds me of a book I read. It talks about how you need to see God as your father-in-law as well, not just your father. not just your maker, not just your creator, but your father-in-law.
Okay.
If your father-in-law was able to see every single thing you do to your spouse, would they be approving? That's their princess, that's their child, that's their prince, like that's his boy, you know, like are you treating his daughter right?
With
are you
honor.
Treating his son, with honor, with respect, with love, kindness, like all of these things. And it talked about that, and that's a good way to see it, because a lot of the times people mistreat people when other people are not seeing them, right? And so, but if you have a fear of God, a healthy fear of God and love of God, you will know that he's always there. And you will know that he knows every single thing about your relationship.
Right.
And so would you treat the person with A, B, C, and D if you knew, or if you thought of them, if you thought of God as your father-in-law?
I think it's really important that we first know who we are as daughters of Christ, and realize that whoever our partner is going to be needs to see us in that way too, and needs to truly see us in that way and honor us as that.
And this is in no way means we know what we're doing.
No clue what we're doing.
No clue. No,
like none.
You try your best and you pray.
Yeah.
And that is it.
Have grace with yourself. You know, it's kind of trial and error, you know, but I think definitely be prayerful along the way. There's been many situations where I'm like, I don't know, like, is this supposed to work out? And I'm like, God, like, can you help me out? Can you give me wisdom? Can you like really just show if this relationship is in your will? And God, with the quickness, shuts it down.
I prayed for somebody to leave me alone, and in a week or two, they left me alone.
They're gone.
I did not do nothing.
So this all goes back to keep God at the center, seek God first, and everything else is going to work out. You know, he's not gonna let you get into a situation, a relationship that's going to
destroy you.
Correct. Okay.
This is nice. Oh. Thank you for having me.
Of course. My pleasure. I hope that you guys enjoyed hearing some of the things that we have learned about dating as Christian women with, you know, minimal experience, but you know, take what you will from it and leave the rest. But I just want to say thank you so much for watching. BT, you'll have to be on the channel again sometime soon.
I would love to.
And until next time, y'all, let's keep fighting the good fight of the faith, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.